Hi guys, hi everyone. So I'm gonna talk about something that is not talked about in our spiritual community very much, but it needs to be said. And this may be a trigger for some of you, maybe a trigger based on your belief systems. It may be a trigger, it may bring up some memories that you're not ready for yet. But Spirit this morning, literally, I've been trying to do things around the house, and Spirit is so strong in me sending out this message that I think that there are many of us that need to hear this. And there's going to be some who can't, and that's okay. Just, if it doesn't resonate with you, shut the video off and just go your way. It's okay, guys, okay? This is not video that is meant for everyone. So, on that note, I'm going to talk about something that is kind of taboo in our spiritual community. And if you're on this channel, I'm sure... Sorry, I am fighting a cold. But it came so strongly through that this had to be done. I'm like, really? I just want to curl up with my cup of tea and go to sleep. But Spirit's like, no, come on. So, if you're watching this, you're in a community of people that are probably in service to others. I know I am. A lot of us feel like we have a higher purpose. We're here for a reason. We're here for the human experience, but there's something way greater at play with us, and we don't know what it is. Some of us resonate with Lightworkers, the title Lightworkers. Some identify with starseeds. Some of us identify under many different names, but we all feel that sense of higher purpose and that we're here to serve others. It runs very strong in us that we're here to serve others. But there's going to come a time in your journey for some of us, and I hear many, where you're going to be drawn to a darker path. And the darker path, when I talk about the darker path, it's in service to self. And a lot of the darker occult things are pretty much service to self. And as you go on your journey, you're going to be drawn to the dark. This is just part of the journey you have to go through. And my one friend and I were talking, and maybe this is what caused that trigger. I think I had two events that happened this week that brought this forward. And now I was ready to receive the information. I was talking with my friend the other day, and we were talking about how easy the dark feels to a lot of us. It feels like a much easier path than the light. And it just feels natural to us. But we don't know why. Because in our heart, we know we're in service to others. But the only thought, our brain tells us, well, if this feels easy and this is natural, then by gosh, you must be in service to self. So there's this battle that you're going to have to face. It's not really a battle. And I'm going to tell you why. This isn't a battle. This goes way back. And this is nothing to do with shadow work, guys. Okay? There's nothing, okay, for you to do other than to make that decision. Do you go down the easy slope, or do you go to the light slope? Ascend upwards. And I'm gonna explain this further. Couple things you have to bear in mind as you go on your journey. When you go to a seer or an Akashic record reader, and you have to understand that what they are giving you, the information they are giving you is based on their current knowledge of what they know. As you progress, if that's what you want to do, if you want to delve in deeper and understand things on a deeper level, what you receive is going to start falling away, and now you're into the deeper part of things. And a lot of these seers and Akashic record readers, I'm Akashic record reader, you know, I'm not downing any of you guys. What I'm trying to say is that if you have a reading done, understand it's based on that person's current understanding, the level of their current understanding, okay? And this is important because what I'm going to tell you, you're going to start seeing what I'm telling you, okay? Things are going to start falling in place. So when I was waking up in 2020, I found out that my mother's lineage is dark. And a darker, let's put it that way, a darker path, if you will. And several members on my mother's side have taken a darker path. And there is a reason for this, because we are all given choices. But when I was waking up, I went through an event where I had a being that was a dark being that was literally on me. And I found out that this darker being that was on me or attached to me was created by someone of the dark, someone from my family. And this being, what they did was they created this being out of energy. And because the creator was of a lower vibration, this being was dark. This energy was darker. So I had this attachment, if you will, of this being and of this energy. And this energy's job was basically to keep track of me. That is what this other being wanted to. It wanted to have eyes on me, is what I'm getting right now. And what they did was they used this energy to see me. So I went to 2 different seers to try and figure out what was going on. I was getting, I would try to channel and I would get some really weird stuff and all. I didn't understand what was going on. So these 2 seers that I went to, they both told me a similar story. And again, remember, it's based on their current knowledge that they have. So the message that they told me was that I was born into this lineage for a reason. I chose this family lineage for a reason. And they told me that it was my mother was of the dark lineage and my father was of the light lineage. And that I was here to break, they told me about some curse or something. I was here to break that lineage. And I guess the curse on the lineage, if you will. That's what they were seeing. So I'm like, okay, all right, well that resonated with me at the time, and I'm like, okay, that made sense. So as I'm going through this process of them telling me that I have a dark lineage line and a light lineage line, I have to go and figure out what is this attachment that's on me and how to get rid of it. So at that point, I started delving into the darker realms of things. I was looking at protection spells. I was doing all kinds of trying to figure out how to release this, whatever this was, this energy. And after being told by several people, well, if you don't, you need to because I said I was a healer, an energy worker. I had one guy who was like, who said, until you turn to God and admit your sins, I'm not going to help you at all. And I'm like, wow, okay. That's really helpful. That's what a loving God would want you to do, right? You know? So I was really hitting wall after wall. And this was something that I could not talk to my sister about because she's very religious. And in her mind, you know, she questions energy work. She questions, you know, she follows her Bible group, if you will, to the T. So basic to me, I'm like, this is like a community of dictators. Like, you can't think for yourself. You have to follow what your Bible study group tells you. So anyway, I digress. But, so I couldn't go to her and talk to her about this. That was not an option. So what was happening was, as I was raising my vibration, this attachment that this person had sent on me was getting uncomfortable. It was getting very uncomfortable because it was of a lower vibration. So it was actually causing itself, it was actually having pain. It was suffering. And I was feeling it. I was feeling it suffering. And I felt I have to release it, but I don't know how. How do I release this thing? So as I'm going through this darker line, you're looking at, you know, I'm going into, you know, darker metaphysical shops. I'm trying to figure out how to release this. I'm being very drawn to the occult. And it felt very easy to me. And it was like, almost like it was beckoning me. Come on, you know this stuff. You know this. And I did know it. That's the scary part. A lot of this came naturally to me. And I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh. What is this? So I started questioning myself. I'm like, am I light? Am I light? Am I dark? What am I? And so anyway, so I finally found someone, a group of women in Europe, actually, who released this being for me. And I could immediately feel its pain and suffering gone when they released it. I knew the minute they released it when it had gone. And it was just, and I knew it was in a happier space, which sounds so odd. But a lot of these dark energies don't want to be dark. They are called upon and created, but that's not what they want to do. So anyway, so, you know, I'm questioning myself. What am I? So I've always held the dark at bay, if you will. I've always felt like it's something that that would be an easy trap for me to fall into, if that makes any sense. But now I understand. So last night, now, when I was reading this chapter in Esoteric Science, Anthroposophy and Esoteric Science believe that there was a group of beings that came down. They were of the feminine energy, and they initiated human beings to the next level. These female beings. And some people, I'm trying to keep this really simple, guys. We can delve into this bigger and all that, but that's not what this video is for. That's not the meaning of this video. You know, some call it the fall of Sophia, some call it the fall of Eve. But it wasn't a fall. These higher beings, these higher feminine energies, descended downward to come to Earth to help humans evolve. This is the thought. This is the thought process. And again, this is what I'm saying. This may not resonate with a lot of you, and that's okay. However, some of you, this is going to resonate a lot. So these feminine initiates, if you will, were of a higher realm. What we call the fall wasn't really a fall. They chose to come down on their own free will to assist humanity. And these group of feminine energy became, you know, they created this matriarchal society where women were actually, we were very gifted. You know, we not only, we were more gifted intuitively, but we also, now this is going to go a little deeper for you guys, but there's thoughts of the womb as being a portal to the higher planes, if you will. But higher spiritual vessels than the males, humans at the time. So these women energies, these women beings came down, and matriarchal is all of love. And love was what was advancing the humans, humanity, forward. So this group of beings knew that there would be a time when the patriarchal, the male energy, would have its time and place. So what these females did at the time, they created lineages. They created lineages of these high priestess of different beings. And the purpose of this was to keep what we call the feminine mysteries in place. So when we're obviously in a patriarchal society. You know, we have men presidents, we have men kings. Everything is the male energy. And the male energy is destructive. And I don't mean this in a negative way. This is just a natural process. However, what is happening is that those of us, like me, who came down here, what the seers saw, to them, they saw a male and a female. They assumed it was my mother and my father's side, lineage. They saw the word lineage. So they assumed it was my mother's side, my father's side, and said that I was here to break it. What they didn't understand, and this is the aha moment when I read this chapter about these female initiatives, is that as the female initiative, as the matriarchal society was being pushed under and the patriarchal society was taking its place, these initiatives, these female initiatives, started getting denser and darker. They had to, in order for this patriarchal society, this next level to come in. And that is where many of us feel that being drawn into the darker aspect, because at one time we were in the darker aspect. Our lineage was in the darker aspect of the feminine body. I don't know if you can comment down below if you're a male and you're drawn to the darker side. That would be interesting to find out. But this would explain why so many of us that identify as service to others, identify as lightworkers, starseeds, are drawn to that darker occult, because we actually lived through it. We lived through it. Many of us are here now. What the seers saw is breaking the lineage. That's not what we're here for. We're here to make sure that this lineage of these feminine initiatives breaks off and goes to the light. I hope this is making sense with people. I really hope. It's a lot to take in, I know. I'm hoping I'm making this as clear as possible without getting all into the stuff. But, so for me, I am here to release that darker side of this lineage and allow this lineage now to progress to the light, to the matriarch. We are turning, eventually our society will turn to a more matriarchal society. Will I see it in my lifetime? No, I'm not going to see it. But one of my purposes here and why I chose this family, this lineage, is to ensure that this lineage turns, evolves, and goes to the light. And that is what these women, these seers, saw. Was the male and the female. It wasn't my father and my mother. It was the matriarchal and the patriarchal. That I was here to, when they said to break it, I was here to provide it the direction of the next beings that are born in this lineage, for them to start going towards the matriarchal, to the light. As I sat there, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. No wonder I was drawn to the darker side, but it didn't feel right to me. It was natural. It felt very easy, very natural. But I knew it wasn't meant for me here in this lifetime. So I sat on it with Spirit today before I came on this video. And this is what Spirit said to me. It said, yes, your soul knows it is a higher initiator. That is why your soul chose this lineage of your mother's bloodline. This lineage has been part of the fall from Eve. Your soul has been in the beginning and ending of the matriarchal process. And that is why I have been in the beginning of that love, the very beginning of these higher initiatives coming down. And I've been on the end. I have been at the end when it started turning darker and getting denser into the patriarchal. And that is why the dark feels natural to me. The hardest part of your soul's journey was to embrace the light and turn away the dark. That was your soul's purpose in choosing this lineage. And that is why many of us chose this lineage that we're in. It's to break. It's not to break. It's to redirect our lineages, because there has to be female initiators, guys. Based on the esoteric science teachings and apostrophe, yes, we have to go back to the feminine mysteries again. The matriarchal lineage is renewing. We are coming full circle now. Now we it's the figure 8. The yin and the yang. We are coming to a point where the patriarchal is coming to an end. And the female energy is coming back. So the matriarchal lineage is renewing itself. The matriarchal lineage in the bloodline of those souls that are of the higher initiators. All of a sudden, all of that made sense to me. That I was given a choice. I was given a choice to either go. I knew I was here for the light, but in a moment in time, I was given that choice, and I accepted the light. And that is what the Seers saw, was I was here to break the matriarchal, the patriarchal for this lineage, and move this lineage back to the higher initiatives of the matriarchal line. I hope this video made sense for some of you. I keep getting the word many. I hope it helps you in your journey. Some of you, yes, you have contracted to be a negative being in other lifetimes. There are some of you. And yes, you may be picking up on some of that if you're drawn to the dark. That could be a reason why, because you've done it. Some of you, again, maybe like me, and have this lineage that you need to redirect that energy. There is no right or wrong, guys. I can't stress this enough to you. And I can't stress enough to you how everyone's experience on this plane, on this reality, in this dimension, whatever you want to call this, is your own. And the reason for it is because we've been here so many times. We've been here so many times, and if you haven't, You've lived so many other experiences somewhere else. And so your experiences are going to be different from everyone else's. No one's going to have the same experiences. However, there may be a correlation. So if this video helped you, please hit the like button. Help me push this out to other people that may be in a similar situation, feeling that, am I of the dark? Am I of the light? I know in my heart I'm of the light, but let's push this video out and let them know what they're feeling. If this resonated with you, then chances are you're here to switch that lineage around to be a higher initiative on the matriarchal line lineage. Comments down below, email me, feel free. I always give my email. And subscribe. I'm working on the solar plexus initiative video next, but this was an important message that Spirit wanted me to push out to you guys. So there you go. Have a great day, guys. Bye.